All right, so today we're diving deep into Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard.
Oh, cool.
And this book is really interesting. It claims to have this hidden treasure inside. This this clearly defined road to making your dreams a reality.
Interesting.
So have you ever felt like you're kind of stuck, just going through the motions?
Yeah, I think everyone feels that way sometimes.
Well, this book might just have the key
Okay.
to unlock that feeling and step into a life you really desire, the life you want.
That's a big promise.
It is a big promise.
So what does it say? How do we do that?
Well, right off the bat, it dives into this really big idea.
Okay.
The idea that consciousness, right? Consciousness, it's not just some like abstract concept.
Right.
It's actually like the foundation of reality.
Really?
Literally everything we experience.
So it's not just like consciousness is important. It's saying our consciousness is actually like creating the world around us.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's saying. It's not just figuratively, it's literally. That's what the book argues.
Okay, so how does that even work? Like, what does that look like?
Well, think of it this way. The world we see, the world we feel, the world we experience, it's all a projection of our own consciousness, of our own, conditioned consciousness, you could say.
So it's not just objective reality out there. It's like we're projecting our own reality.
That's what the book is saying, yeah.
Yeah.
And to understand it a little bit better, it uses this really cool analogy.
Okay, I like analogies.
It says, imagine your mind is like a river.
Okay.
The surface of the river, those are your conscious thoughts.
Right.
Right? The thoughts you're aware of. But underneath, there's this deep, powerful current, and that's your subconscious.
Oh, I see. So the subconscious is like this hidden force that's shaping things.
Exactly. It's shaping things. It's influencing things.
So how do those two parts, the conscious and subconscious, actually like work together?
Well, the conscious mind, right? That's like the captain of the ship.
Oh.
It sets the course. It chooses the destination. It's generating ideas.
All right.
And then it uses feelings
Feelings.
to impress those ideas onto the subconscious.
So my feelings are like the fuel for the ship. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay. Interesting.
And here's where it gets even more interesting.
Even more interesting. Okay.
The subconscious, it doesn't judge those ideas.
It doesn't.
No.
So it's not thinking, oh, that's a good idea or that's a bad idea.
Nope. It doesn't question whether they're good or bad, whether they're possible or impossible. It simply accepts whatever the conscious mind feels to be true.
Oh, wow.
And it starts bringing it to life.
Okay, but wait, hold on. If my subconscious doesn't know the difference between a helpful thought and, a not so helpful thought,
Yeah.
wouldn't that mean I could, like, accidentally manifest some not so great stuff?
That is a really, really important point. And that's exactly why this book
Okay.
emphasizes not just the power of feelings, but the responsibility that comes with that.
The responsibility, yeah.
Responsibility of managing those feelings.
Okay, so it's not about, like, suppressing our emotions.
No, not at all.
But it's more about, like, becoming aware of them and then making choices about which feelings to cultivate.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices about which feelings to cultivate and to focus on.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how this whole feeling the secret thing works. But how do we actually do that? How do we choose our feelings, especially when, life throws curveballs?
That is the question, right? That is the million-dollar question. And the book stresses the importance of recognizing which feelings are dominant in our lives.
Dominant feelings, okay.
Think about it this way. If you have two conflicting feelings, the stronger one will always win out.
Oh, the stronger one.
Always.
So, like, if I'm feeling stressed about something, but I'm also trying to feel grateful,
Yeah.
the stress is going to win out unless I can shift that feeling.
It might, unless you can shift it. Like, let's take an example. Saying, I am healthy, that carries a much stronger feeling than saying, I will be healthy.
Oh, I am healthy. Yeah, that feels different.
Right. Which one do you think your subconscious is going to pick up on?
Probably I am healthy, right?
And I am healthy, for sure.
So it's not just about, like, wishful thinking or hoping for something. It's about embodying the feeling of the thing you want. That's pretty profound.
It is profound. I wonder, what are you feeling right now, listener? Are those feelings guiding you towards your goals, or are they holding you back?
It's a good question to reflect on.
It is a good question. And it leads to another point the book makes about the impact of negative feeling.
Negative feelings, okay.
Dwelling on regret, failure, frustration, it doesn't just make us feel bad.
Right.
It can imprint limitations on our subconscious.
So if you're constantly focused on what's wrong, you're basically telling your subconscious, hey, make more of this, please. Not exactly a recipe for success, is it?
Exactly. You're giving it the blueprint for more of the same.
And the book even goes as far as to link these negative feelings to potential disease. It's pretty intense stuff.
It is intense. It really is. It makes you think twice about what you're feeding your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how the book connects this idea of managing our negative feelings to not dwelling on the wrongs that have been done to us,
Oh, interesting.
or even the wrongs that we've done.
Okay.
It all circles back to this idea. Our feelings are literally shaping our reality.
Yeah, it's all connected.
So choosing where we focus our attention, that's crucial.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? How do we start shifting our feelings?
Well, the book then shifts gears a little bit to talk about something that we all do,
Okay.
something that takes up a huge chunk of our lives: sleep.
Sleep.
It calls sleep the natural door to the subconscious.
Well, considering we spend like a third of our lives asleep,
Right.
it better be doing something important. Is it literally like we're stepping through a door into our subconscious every night?
Well, it's more of a metaphor. But the book is saying that sleep is this, prime time to connect with our subconscious and influence our reality.
Prime time, okay. So how do we make the most of this, nightly appointment with our subconscious?
The book emphasizes that our last waking concept of self,
Last waking concept of self.
the thoughts and feelings that we hold on to as we're drifting off to sleep, those actually dominate our sleep.
Oh, wow.
And they end up influencing our waking reality.
Interesting. So what I'm thinking and feeling as I'm falling asleep is super important. Does that mean I should try to force myself into a good mood, even if I've had a really rough day?
It's not about forcing anything. The book actually suggests a gentler approach.
Gentler approach, okay.
It recommends bringing to mind the feeling of your wish fulfilled right before you fall asleep.
Oh, the feeling of your wish fulfilled. So it's like planting a seed in the fertile ground of your sleeping mind.
I love that. That's such a great image. It's not about forcing. It's about gently encouraging, nurturing that seed. Which makes me wonder, if my subconscious is like this, fertile ground, always ready to grow whatever I plant in it,
Yeah.
shouldn't I treat it with a little more respect?
That's a great point. And the book actually uses a really interesting analogy to describe the subconscious. It compares it to a loving wife.
Oh, wife.
Yeah, a wife.
That's a little bit different from that river metaphor.
It is, right. But it's contrasting it with this old idea of the subconscious being like a servant, something we command. Instead, it's emphasizing that the subconscious is like a devoted partner, someone who faithfully reproduces the likeness of our feelings in the outer world.
Okay, so it's not about bossing it around. It's about more of a collaboration.
Exactly. It's a partnership.
I'm starting to see how this shift in perspective could be really powerful.
It is powerful. And the book takes it even further. It talks about the events of our lives as children, formed from the molds of subconscious impressions we make during sleep.
Wow, so it's like we're co-creating our lives with our subconscious, and what we choose to focus on before sleep is like shaping the mold for those creations.
That's a great way to put it. And it leads to some pretty clear advice.
Yeah.
Never fall asleep feeling discouraged or dissatisfied.
Okay.
Always strive to sleep in the consciousness of success.
So no doom scrolling before bed, got it. But sometimes, even if you're not doom scrolling, it's hard to shake off the day's stresses,
I know what you mean.
What does the book suggest we do in those moments?
It offers a specific technique for those times when it's tough to shift your mindset.
Okay.
It says to lie flat on your back, physically relax, and then mentally assume the feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction before drifting off.
So it's like a combination of physical relaxation and mental focus.
Yeah.
Almost like a guided meditation before bed.
Exactly. What do you think, listener? Could you see yourself trying this tonight?
I think it's definitely worth exploring.
Yeah, I think so too. And speaking of other ways to tap into that powerful subconscious, the book also introduces the concept of prayer. It describes prayer as a state similar to sleep, where we can enter that receptive space of the subconscious.
No, it's not just about asking for things, but it's about creating a certain mental state.
Exactly.
Almost like a self-hypnosis kind of thing.
That's a good way to think about it. Prayer, according to the book, is about cultivating a feeling of relaxation and receptivity, making ourselves open to suggestions from within.
I'm starting to see a theme here, whether it's sleep or prayer. It seems like the key is creating this internal environment
Yes,
where our subconscious can really hear us.
you're right. And of course, as we've been talking about, feeling is at the heart of it all.
Okay, let's dive into that prayer piece a little bit more. If feeling is the key, does that mean it doesn't really matter what I pray for as long as I'm feeling it strongly enough?
It's definitely not that simple. The book emphasizes that the key to successful prayer is not what you ask for, but the feeling you bring to it. You must truly believe that your prayer is already answered.
So it's about embodying that state of already having what you desire, even if it hasn't materialized in the physical world yet.
Precisely. And the book makes a crucial distinction here. It's not about forcing the wish, but about yielding to it. Trying too hard, clinging too tightly to the outcome can actually create resistance.
Oh, so how do we cultivate that state of yielding during prayer? Is it about like letting go of expectations?
It's more about shifting our focus. The book describes a technique for creating a passive state, similar to the relaxed feeling we experience just before sleep. It involves relaxing the body, closing the eyes, and imagining the feeling of sleepiness.
Interesting. So it's like we're intentionally blurring the lines between our waking and sleeping states to tap into that subconscious power.
Exactly. The book suggests that in this passive state, our minds become much more receptive to suggestions from within, making it easier to impress our subconscious with the feelings we want to manifest.
Okay, I'm really starting to get this. So we're relaxed, we're receptive. What role does visualization play in all of this? Is it helpful to picture what we're praying for?
The book definitely recommends using visualization during prayer. It suggests picturing your desired outcome in vivid detail. But the key is to focus on the feeling of the wish already being fulfilled, not getting caught up in the how of its manifestation.
So it's not about trying to control every detail. It's about trusting that the universe or our subconscious will figure out the logistics.
Exactly. And the author makes a really bold statement about this. He says that acceptance of the end automatically wills the means to that end. So if you truly accept the feeling of the end result, your subconscious will automatically start working on the how.
That's a powerful concept. It's like saying, don't worry about the GPS, just focus on enjoying the destination. But if feeling is that important, the book must have more to say about it, right?
It does. And this is where things get really interesting. The book introduces the idea that spirit is actually synonymous with feeling.
Whoa, spirit equals feeling. That's a pretty big claim. I'm curious to hear more about that.
Well, the author explains that by capturing the feeling associated with a realized wish, we essentially tap into the spirit that can bring it into being.
So it's not just about the emotion itself, it's about tapping into a deeper, more powerful force through that feeling.
That's the idea. And the author even connects this to a biblical quote, "Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts."
So it's about aligning ourselves with something bigger than ourselves through our feelings. It's starting to sound like faith plays a role in all of this, too.
You're right on track.
Uh-huh.
And the book makes another bold equation. Faith equals feeling.
So instead of thinking of faith as like a belief system or a set of doctrines, we should think of it as a feeling.
Exactly. The book uses the biblical quote, "According to your faith, feeling, be it unto you," to highlight this point.
So what we attract into our lives, it's not just about what we believe intellectually, it's a reflection of our dominant feelings.
That's what the book is saying. The author reminds us that we attract not what we want, but what we are. And what we are is defined by our feelings.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This is making me rethink everything.
I know, it's a lot to take in, but there's even more. The book goes on to present a concept that might be the most challenging one yet. Instead of believing in God or Jesus, believe you are God or Jesus.
Whoa, that's a statement that's sure to spark some debate.
It definitely is. What do you think, listener? Is this something you resonate with, or does it raise more questions for you?
I'm definitely curious to hear how the book explains this idea. What does it mean to believe that we are God or Jesus?
Well, the book suggests that it's natural for us to act in accordance with the identity we believe ourselves to hold. If you truly believe we embody divine qualities, we're more likely to express them in our actions.
So it's about recognizing the divine spark within ourselves, that potential for limitless creation that we all possess.
That's a great way to put it. It's about stepping into our own power and realizing that we're not separate from the source of creation, but rather an expression of it.
This is really making me shift my perspective. It's like the book is saying, hey, you're not just a passenger in your life, you're the driver. But how do we actually make that shift? Where do we even begin?
It all starts with feeling.
Okay, so we're back to feeling again. But this time, it's about feeling our own divinity, our own connection to that source of creation.
Exactly. And the book concludes with a powerful thought to help us on this journey. When we believe in the value of the advice we receive, and we actually apply it, we establish the reality of success within ourselves.
It's a call to action, a challenge to put these principles into practice and see the transformative power of feeling for ourselves.
That's exactly what it is. It's about taking all of this knowledge and turning it into action, into lived experience.
Wow, this has been quite a deep dive into feeling is the secret so far. There's so much to unpack here. What about you, listener? Are you having some aha moments too?
I hope so. We've covered a lot of ground, from the nature of consciousness and the subconscious to the roles of sleep and prayer in manifesting our desires, and of course the central message that shines through it all. Our feelings are the key to creating the life we want. It's a reminder that we have more power than we often realize.
Absolutely. But this is just the beginning of our exploration. We still have so much more to discuss, so many more insights to uncover.
Yes, there's still plenty to dive into. And when we come back, we'll be exploring even more thought-provoking concepts from Feeling is the Secret. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Feeling is the Secret. My mind is still buzzing from all those incredible concepts we just explored. It's like this book is giving us this whole new language for understanding how our inner world shapes our reality.
It's definitely a paradigm shift, isn't it? This idea that our consciousness is actually projecting the world around us is mind-blowing. It's almost like we're living in a simulation that we're creating in real time.
Right, and if we're creating it, we might as well create something we love. But the book also pointed out that our subconscious doesn't discriminate between good and bad feelings.
That's true. It simply reflects back to us what we're putting out there. The subconscious is like a mirror, showing us the true nature of our inner world.
Okay, so if we're constantly dwelling on negativity, fear, or lack, we're essentially programming our subconscious to create more of those experiences in our lives.
You're getting it. It's like we're sending out these energetic signals that attract experiences to match our dominant feelings.
So it's even more important to become aware of those feelings and make conscious choices about which ones we want to cultivate. It's not about denying or suppressing our emotions, but about tending to our inner garden, as we were talking about before.
Exactly. The book emphasizes that we have the power to choose our feelings, to focus on those that uplift us and align with the reality we want to create. What seeds are you planting in your inner garden, listener?
I love that analogy. We can choose to plant flowers or weeds, so to speak, and it sounds like this book is giving us the tools to become master gardeners of our own minds.
That's a great way to put it. It's an inside-out approach to creating change.
Yeah.
If we want to change our external reality, we have to start by shifting our internal state.
And the book gives us some really practical techniques to do just like those methods for impressing the subconscious during sleep and prayer. Those are all about creating that state of receptivity where we can plant those seeds of desire and let our subconscious do its thing.
Right? Instead of struggling and striving to make things happen, it's more about aligning ourselves with the outcome we desire and letting the universe take care of the details.
Surrender. That word comes up a lot in spiritual teachings. But it can be a tricky one to grasp. What does it actually mean to surrender to the universe, to a higher power? Does it mean just giving up and letting life happen to us?
That's a great question, and I think a lot of people have that misconception. Surrender doesn't mean becoming passive. It's more about releasing the need to control every single aspect of our lives. It's about trusting that there's a greater intelligence at work, something bigger than our limited human minds guiding us towards our highest good.
So it's about having faith that things will work out, even if we don't know exactly how they will unfold.
Exactly. It's about letting go of the micromanaging and allowing ourselves to be guided by something bigger.
And this brings us back to that idea that faith is synonymous with feeling. It's not about intellectual belief, but about embodying the feeling of what we desire as if it's already ours.
That's right. Faith is an embodied experience, not just a mental concept. It's about feeling the reality of what we want to create, even if we can't see it or touch it yet.
It's about bridging that gap between the seen and the unseen, between the world of form and the world of pure potential. And this leads us to a concept that I know some people might find challenging, the idea of believing we are God or Jesus.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That one really got me thinking too. It's important to remember that the book is using those figures as archetypes of divine consciousness, not literally saying we should start worshiping ourselves.
Right. It's about recognizing the divine spark within ourselves, the potential for limitless creation that we all possess. We're not separate from the source of creation. We're an expression of it.
Exactly. It's a profound shift in perspective from seeing ourselves as small and limited to recognizing our inherent divinity and the infinite possibilities within.
Okay, so we're all walking around with this divine power within us, but sometimes it feels like we're completely disconnected from it.
That's where the power of feeling comes in. Again, remember, the book says we attract not what we want, but what we are. And what we are is defined by our feelings. So if we want to attract abundance, love, success, whatever it is, we have to cultivate those qualities within ourselves first.
So it's an inside-out approach to life. We have to become the embodiment of what we desire, radiating those qualities outward through our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
That's the key. It's about aligning our inner and outer worlds, creating a harmonious resonance between who we are and what we experience. It's about becoming the artist of our own lives.
Okay, I'm getting so fired up by this. It's like the book is handing us a paintbrush and saying, go create your masterpiece. But before we start painting, we need to do some prep work. We have to understand what colors we're working with, what's already on the canvas. It all comes back to self-awareness.
You're absolutely right. If we want to create change, we have to understand where we're starting from. What are the dominant feelings shaping our current reality? What beliefs are we holding on to that might be limiting us?
This is where things get a little more introspective. It's about becoming the observer of our own inner landscape, noticing those patterns of thoughts and feelings.
And doing it without judgment. It's not about beating ourselves up for having negative thoughts or feelings, but simply acknowledging them and then choosing to shift our focus towards something more positive and empowering.
Right. It's like we have this incredible gift of free will, the ability to literally shape our own reality through the power of our consciousness.
It's a gift we can use wisely or unwisely, though. The more we become aware of our inner workings, the more conscious and deliberate we can be in creating the life we desire.
This is all starting to feel very empowering. It's like this book is saying, hey, you're not just a passenger in your life, you're the driver. You have the power to choose your destination and create the journey you want.
That's the beautiful message at the heart of it all. And it's not just about personal transformation. Imagine if we could collectively shift our dominant feelings toward love, compassion, and unity.
Whoa, that's a big thought. What kind of world could we create if we all chose to focus on those feelings?
It's a beautiful vision, isn't it? And I believe it's within our reach. It all starts with each of us taking responsibility for our own inner world and choosing to embody those feelings that align with the world we want to see.
It's a journey of self-discovery and conscious creation, and it's a journey we can all embark on together.
And as we're talking about journeys, I think it's time for us to take a short break from this one.
But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the final part of our deep dive into Feeling is the Secret, where we'll distill some key takeaways and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder. Welcome back to our deep dive into Feeling is the Secret. I feel like we've been on this incredible journey, exploring how our minds work and how much power we actually have to shape our own reality.
Yeah, it really has been quite a journey. So many mind-blowing concepts, right?
Definitely mind-blowing. So before we wrap things up, what are some of the key things we should remember? Like, what's the most important takeaway?
Well, for me, it all comes back to this idea. Consciousness is the foundation of everything. Like, the world we experience, it's really just a reflection of our own internal state.
So it's like we're looking in a mirror.
Exactly. And our feelings, they're the key to changing that reflection.
Oh, okay. So we're painting a picture with our feelings, but sometimes it can be hard to just choose those positive feelings, especially when life gets tough.
I get it. It's not always easy. But the book emphasizes managing those feelings, not by ignoring them, but by noticing them. And then, consciously choosing which ones we want to focus on.
Right. It's like we're the gardener of our own minds.
Yes.
We get to choose which seeds to plant, which ones we want to grow.
And the book actually gives us some pretty good techniques to help with that whole process. Like, remember those techniques for working with our subconscious during sleep and prayer?
Yeah, those were really interesting.
Those are all about getting into that receptive state, making fertile ground for those seeds of desire to take root.
I think that's where surrender comes in, too.
Surrender.
Letting go of the need to control everything. Trusting that, something bigger is at work, helping us along the way.
It's about having faith. Having that deep feeling of knowing that what we want is already ours.
Even if we can't see it yet.
Exactly.
And that brings us to one of the most powerful concepts from the book, that we attract not what we want, but who we are.
Yeah. It's a game changer. Our outer world, it's just a reflection of our inner world.
So if we want to change what we see outside, we got to start inside.
You got it.
Become the person we want to be.
It's all about embodying what we desire.
This book has been such an eye-opener, you know? It's filled with wisdom and tools that can help us create the life we dream of.
It's definitely given me a lot to think about and to apply in my own life, too.
Me too. It's made me realize how much power we actually have.
That power is within all of us.
Yeah.
Anyone can tap into it if they're willing to do the inner work.
So what are you waiting for, listener? What dreams are you ready to bring to life? How are you going to use the power of feeling to shape your reality?
I love that. The possibilities are truly endless.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've come to the end of our deep dive into feeling is the secret. But remember, this is just the beginning of your journey.
Go out there, explore, experiment. Feel those dreams into reality.
Create the life you were meant to live. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.